Hello and welcome. Tonight, INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu announces June 20 and August 8, 2026 as dates for the governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states. Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja reverses judgment, voiding the conduct of local government elections in Kano State. Federal government launches its technical and vocational education training initiative with plans to train 5 million youths in industry-relevant and entrepreneurial skills. And Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky questions Russia's commitment to progressing peace talks after Moscow confirmed it was sending a team of talks in Istanbul on Monday.
On business news tonight, outgoing president of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, calls for unity among African economies as multilateral finance institution ends its 5-day annual general meetings in Abidjan.
On sports news tonight, it's 24 hours to D-Day as PSG battle Inter Milan in the UEFA Champions League final at the Munich Football Arena on Saturday.
From the nation's capital, Taraba State Governor Abu Kefes says preliminary reports indicate that his sister Atsi was killed by a police escort and not a bandit. Tonight, we begin with election matters as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has fixed the governorship elections for Ekiti and Osun states for July the 20th and August the 8th, 2026, giving stakeholders over 1 year notice to prepare. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who made this known in Abuja during the swearing-in of 6 newly appointed resident electoral commissioners recently confirmed by the National Assembly, says the commission is finalizing arrangements for by-elections to fill vacant seats in the national and state houses of assembly.
For Ekiti State, the election will be held on Saturday, 20th July 2026. However, party primaries will start on 20th October 2025 and end on 10th November 2025 to enable political parties upload their nomination forms to the dedicated portal, which automatically shuts down by 6 p.m. on 22nd December 2025. That is not later than 180 days before the election. The final list of candidates will be published on 18th January 2026, while campaign in public by political parties will commence on 21st January 2026 and end 24 hours before election day. In the case of Osun State, the election will be held on Saturday, 8th August 2026. Party primaries will start on 24th November 2025 and end on 15th December 2025. The portal for the upload of nomination forms by political parties closes at 6 p.m. on 9th February 2026. That is not later than 180 days before the election as provided by law. The final list of candidates will be published on the 9th of March 2026, while campaign in public by political parties will commence on the 11th of March 2026 and end 24 hours before the election day.
We head to the courts now, and the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has reversed the judgment by the Federal High Court in Kano, voiding the composition of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission and the Local Government Election and Commission conducted on October the 26th, 2024. In a unanimous judgment, a 3-member panel, presided over by Justice Biobele George Will, held that the lower court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain cases bordering on the composition of states' electoral bodies and the qualification of members of such bodies. The court allowed the 3 appeals filed by the Kano State Attorney General, the Kano State House of Assembly, and the Commission, striking out the suits filed before the Federal High Court for want of jurisdiction. The Court of Appeal also reversed another judgment delivered by the Federal High Court in Kano, rejecting the list of candidates submitted by the Commission by the Musa Kwakwanso Group of the New Nigeria People's Party, the NNPP, for the last local government election in Kano State. And to governance matters now, the Anambra State Governor, Professor Soludo, has identified intentional leadership based on integrity, fairness, and transparency as a foundation of ethical leadership. The governor made this comment as a guest speaker at the groundbreaking event of the Ethics, AI, and Higher Education Strategy team at the Princess Alexandra Auditorium of his alma mater, the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. The event, with the theme Ethical Leadership, Security and Sustainable Development, seeks to enthrone transformational leadership as against transactional service.
The fill-in is nostalgic as Anambra State's Governor, Professor Soludo, visits his alma mater, the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, this time as a guest lecturer to speak on the theme Ethical Leadership, Security and Sustainable Development. This event is organized by the Acting Vice-Chancellor of the institution, Professor Ogujiofo Ujam, in collaboration with the Ethics, AI and Higher Education Strategy team of the Faculty of Social Sciences. The coordinator begins by acknowledging the fact that higher education is going through a lot of stress, noting the need to mainstream artificial intelligence and ethical leadership engagement for development.
We were set up to achieve the goals of deployment of ethics of artificial intelligence in the university. Secondly, to deploy ethics in higher education. And thirdly, to bring about a marriage of the gown and the town through ethical leadership engagement.
Governor Soludo, in his address, highlights the nexus between teaching and community service.
An academic in the third world country cannot afford not to multitask and must devote a significant amount of his time to community service. And my argument is that the marginal contribution of one educated and committed mind to community is the highest in the developing world.
Speaking on leadership and service, the former CBN governor gives an insight into what he calls the one state, one people, and one agenda, driven by the spirit of leaving no one behind.
Ethical leadership, selfless, exemplary, transformational, not transactional. A service with integrity and compassion. It is a life wire of progressive institutions, be they homes, schools, classrooms, boards, offices, churches, governments, etc. An ethical leader must embody and exude the change that he wants to see.
We formally induct you, Professor Charles Soludo, into the Hall of Fame.
The lecture rounds off with an appeal to the university to establish a code of conduct service that ensures standard, just as politicians are challenged not to pervert the merit system in the nation's universities.
The federal government has announced plans to train over 5 million Nigerian youths with industry-relevant entrepreneurial and income-generating skills. The Minister of Education, Mr. Tunji Alausa, gave this indication at the official launch of the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Initiative in Abuja. According to him, 25 trade areas cutting across ICT, renewable energy, construction, agriculture, creative and automotive industries have all been established.
Nurturing skilled, adaptable and innovative people who can transform dreams into realities and challenges into opportunities is the reason behind the launch of this technical and vocational education and training initiative. The event is attended by government officials charged with the responsibility of improving technical education in the country. They give insight into what the initiative is all about.
TVET is not just another sector of education. It is the backbone of our national progress. It turns potentials into purpose, impacting millions from farmers to technicians, nurses to engineers. The skills developed through TVET are the prosperous and resilient Nigeria.
Stakeholders applaud the initiative, which is aimed at creating jobs.
This is the government that all of us are working together and in the leadership of the president to create a key initiatives for job creations and entrepreneurship.
TVET is the engine room of all nations. As long as the manufacturer of motor vehicles continue to produce cars year in, year out, in different models, we will definitely need the artisans.
Each beneficiary is expected to get a monthly stipend of 22,500 naira as the government hopes to drive enrollment.
We need to uniquely skill our youth, and that's what we're doing with TVET. And there's something missing today. We have about 5.2 million people, students, leaving secondary school. Only 1.8 million get into any of our tertiary institutions, universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. We have about 3.4 million people, citizens, young men and women, being dropped on a yearly basis. Where are they going?
The launch of the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Initiative by the federal government is aimed at empowering youths with industry-related skills.
Former Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, is calling on civil society organizations and the media to draw inspiration from the effective gatekeeping done by CSOs and the media during the days of the military, which led to the return of democracy. Mr. Fayemi, who was the keynote speaker at the roundtable on the relevance of the Freedom of Information Act in electoral transparency and accountability in Abuja, tasked civil society organizations and the media to constantly spotlight issues that directly affect the people and draw the attention of political leaders to such matters. The roundtable, which is to mark 14 years of the passage of the Freedom of Information Act, seeks to address the challenges of compliance and usage.
Officials, we cannot just leave politics to politicians alone, to professional politicians. I mean, everybody here was an active player in that struggle to get us out of military dictatorship. Part of the work that we all did was exposing and demystifying the military, because they were supposed to be the all-conquering military. It's conclusion that we can't give up on this country. That's the conclusion of that book. What's and all failures that we have dealt with, challenges that we're still confronted with, we can only build a better society if we insist on a better democratic culture. And a better democratic culture can only come from a culture of transparency and accountability, a culture that questions leadership, a question that insists on putting our feet to fire. They are political. And we also have to be political. We have to insert politics into our policy making, but progressive politics, a politics that really advances the interest of the people ultimately. Because more often than not, we tend to focus on the irrelevancies and on things that really don't ultimately bring transformational change.
In part two, after the break, Federal High Court in Lagos convicts and sentences another set of foreigners to 1 year imprisonment each for cyber terrorism and internet fraud. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu announces July 20 and August 8, 2026 as dates for the governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states. Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja reverses judgment voiding the conduct of local government elections in Kano state. Federal government launches its Technical and Vocational Education Training TVET initiative with plans to train 5 million youths in industry-relevant and entrepreneurial skills. And Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky questions Russia's commitment to progressing peace talks after Moscow confirmed it was sending a team to talks in Istanbul on Monday. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has convicted and sentenced another set of foreigners to 1 year imprisonment each for cyber, terrorism and internet fraud. Justice Yelin Bogoro and Justice Alexandra Woye, in separate cases, sentenced a total of 15 foreigners comprising 11 Filipinos, 2 Chinese, 1 Malaysian and 1 Indonesian after they all pleaded guilty. The trial judge has also ordered the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service to ensure that the convicts are repatriated to their country of origin within 7 days upon completion of their sentences. With this latest verdict, the total number of foreigners convicted and sentenced now 33. The foreigners who initially pleaded not guilty changed their pleas under a plea bargain agreement with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. The convicts are part of a larger number of 193 foreign nationals arrested during a surprise operation tagged Eagle Flush Operation by the EFCC in December 2024, and their hideout in the 7-story building called Big Leaf Building on Oyin Jolayemi Street on Victoria Island, Lagos. The news at 10 continues now as we head over to Abuja studios where Gloria Mezuke is standing by. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you, Anne. And we head over now to Taraba State, where the governor, Agbu Kefes, has revealed that his sister, Atsi Kefes, was killed by one of the police escorts in the vehicle they were traveling in. According to him, preliminary police reports revealed that she died as a result of severe gunshot injuries. The governor insists that investigation is still ongoing to ascertain the circumstances surrounding the incident for justice to prevail. This is the first time the governor is speaking about his sister's killing since last year, December, when reports emanated that she was killed by bandits who mounted a roadblock along Wukari Kente Road. The governor was speaking at a town hall meeting to mark his 2nd-year anniversary.
In the case of my sister Ati, preliminary police reports revealed that she died as a result of severe gunshot injuries sustained from shot by one of the police escorts in the vehicle. Investigation is still ongoing to ascertain the circumstances so that justice will prevail. You can see that this work is not for applause. It is for legacy, it is for the future, it is for you all. Please let us, in a positive spirit, move Taraba forward. In these 2 years, you can agree with me that Taraba is no longer on the sideline. We are leading with discipline, with technology, with a good heart. This is your time. This is your Taraba. Let us rise together. Let us believe again. Let us move Taraba forward.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Police Force says it has successfully rescued victims of kidnapping in Enugu and Niger states, reflecting the resolve of the force to tackle criminality head-on and restore peace to communities. According to a statement by the force PRO, Mr. Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the operatives engaged the kidnappers in a fierce gun duel, overpowered them, and successfully rescued 9 kidnapped victims. The statement further adds that the operatives carried out a coordinated operation in Uvuru Opata Forest in Uzuwani local government area, following the abduction of commuters along Olo Umupoka Road. Police operatives had also rescued 2 men in a forest at Amala Egazi after they were kidnapped on May 16, 2025 at the Ezimo community. The police spokesman said the rescued victims have been reunited with their families, while efforts to track down some of the fleeing suspects are ongoing. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has reiterated his administration's commitment to bring more reforms to the transportation sector in the FCT. Mr. Wike was speaking while inspecting some ongoing projects in the nation's capital, alongside the former governors of Benue, Samuel Otom, and Abia State, Okezie Ikpeazu. Our correspondent, Kumbi Aboluwade, reports.
The transportation sector is the focus of the latest project inspection by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike. The ongoing construction of the Kubo Bus Terminal project is his first port of call as he arrives in the company of the former governors of Benue State, Mr. Samuel Otom, and Abia State, Mr. Okezie Ikpeazu. Thereafter, he moves to a similar project in the Mabuchi district. He also inspected a road project in the Giri district along the Airport Road. After completing the tour, Mr. Wike pledges to bring more reforms to the public transport system in the nation's capital.
A lot of things will happen in the transport sector. There are a lot of reforms. In fact, the committee is working before we get to the commission. Will come up with our transport sector reforms because we have said as part of security measures, we must know who are those who are involved in doing their taxi business and what color, so that if anything happens, we'll be able to identify. So just be assured that we are doing everything possible. We will do it, and this time around we are working on to see that we don't have a lot of parks on the road.
The former governor of Benue State commenced the project, attributing the success to President Bola Tinubu.
In the last 1 year, I need a guide to take me around Federal Capital Territory because of the monumental development and progress we have had here. I commend Mr. President for his renewed hope agenda that is making impact.
Mr. Otom also appealed to Nigerians to join forces with the government to collectively address the challenges plaguing the nation. Kumbi Aboluwade, Channels Television News.
Staying with infrastructural development, Governor Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State has inspected choice metropolitan projects as part of a broader plan to develop the state. The governor inspected the Mega Science College, Gombe, the ongoing construction of the High Court and the House of Assembly complexes. He also inspected the Ashaka Dual Carriage Road project, Gombe Mechanic Village, and a host of township road networks.
Matching words with action, Governor Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State leads a team of experts to inspect ongoing multi-billion-dollar projects spread across the state. The governor's entourage makes its first stop at the Gombe Mega Science College, one of the legacy projects aimed at boosting the development of artificial intelligence and nurturing young minds for technological and scientific exploits. Next is a three-arm zone, where the team inspects the progress of work done at the House of Assembly and the High Court complexes. Here, he lays the foundation for the ultra-modern State Secretariat that is expected to be occupied by over 60,000 state civil servants.
We thank the Almighty Allah for sparing our lives to witness this remarkable, unforgettable, historic, and memorable occasion.
We are saying three-arm zone. This consists of House of Assembly complex, High Court complex, and the State Secretariat. So these are the State Secretariat.
Shortly after, Governor Yahaya inspects the Mechanic Village and the level of work at the Gombe Ashaka Road project. He expresses satisfaction with the quality and speed of the projects.
I've said it times without number, that at the pace we are going, and with having in mind our promises to the people, and considering the current situation Nigeria is in, we are doing creditably well, and it's not my effort alone. It's the effort of the team and all the stakeholders.
The quality of the projects is highlighted as a testament of good legacies.
Alhamdulillah, when the executive governor of Gombe State, Alhaji Mohammed, had come on board, there are so many facilities that are lacking in Gombe State. And most of these facilities are the backbone of administration in any serious government. So when he came on board, Gombe State, since its creation in 1996, we don't have a state secretariat complex.
As Governor Inuwa Yahaya continues to inspect ongoing projects and commissions new ones, he's confident that his stewardship will serve as goodwill for the re-election bid of President Bola Tinubu.
Still ahead on the news at 10, outgoing president of the African Development Bank, Akiwumi Additional, calls for unity among African economies as the multilateral institution ends its annual general meetings in Abidjan. That's in business news. Please join us again.
Welcome back. Let's head to Imo State now, where the governor, Hope Uzodimma, is pledging maximum support for indigenous producers of gas in the state as part of efforts to develop its economy, in addition to contributing to the economic development of Nigeria. Speaking in Abuja after a meeting with representatives of gas producers from Imo State, Governor Uzodimma says the support for indigenous producers of gas will create massive employment opportunities for the people of Imo and Nigerians at large.
You recall late last year, Mr. President commissioned the Kano gas plant in Imo State. As you are aware, there are two big gas plants facilities going on in Imo State. Kano gas plant 1 and Kano gas 2. One manned by Seplat and the other one by Shell Petroleum. And that of Seplat has been completed, and they're about to start operation proper. And as part of their programs or activities marked for the seamless operations of that facility, they came to pay a courtesy call to the governor. Of course, our support is also needed to organize and speak to the immediate environment, the communities around that area, to give them support and encourage them to be able to succeed in what they are doing. On completion, it is not only a thing of joy to the people of Imo State, it will help stimulate our economy, create more jobs, expand our economic horizon, and also register Imo State in the global map as one of the producers of gas in the world.
As part of its corporate social responsibility initiatives, the Azura Edo Independent Power Project has completed the handover of 2 key infrastructure projects to one of its host communities in Edo State. The projects, a 1.1-kilometer access road and a fully equipped primary healthcare center, are all aimed at improving access to essential services for residents. Speaking at the commissioning ceremony, the managing director of the power company, Edu Okeke, says the projects were carefully selected based on their direct impact on the health and well-being of people in Edo.
The 1.1-kilometer Orio-Semende Road project, constructed by the Azura Edo Power Company, has been officially delivered. Situated along the newly completed road is another vital development, a fully equipped primary healthcare center, now ready for commissioning. The facility, developed through a tripartite partnership, is expected to serve over 10,000 residents, including those from the neighboring host communities of Ihowo and Udomina.
The Orio-Semende Primary Health Center is designed to deliver qualitative and accessible health care services to the local communities, which include Azura host communities and 5 others within its catchment area. Although being government facility, we also say it's open to the public who need it. It is strategically positioned to cater to both outpatient and inpatient needs. This facility is a strong testament of our determined commitment to improving primary health care at these immediate communities.
The representative of the host communities expressed appreciation, noting that the projects will bring lasting and meaningful impact to the lives of the people.
We appreciate Azura and many things they have been doing for the enhancement of the communities. In short, it's so great. And we thank God that God continues to strengthen them spiritually, physically, financially to carry out more assignments like this.
For the Edo State government, these developments align with its 5-point development agenda, particularly in the areas of healthcare, infrastructure, and community welfare.
The newly built primary healthcare center is a direct investment in the health and well-being of our people, as it will provide accessible and affordable healthcare services. In this case, it's actually free. You don't need to pay any money to access the primary healthcare center here. This reduces maternity and infant mortality and complements our government's efforts to revamp primary healthcare across Edo State.
The management of the 461 megawatts Azura Edo Independent Power Project reaffirmed its dual commitment to supporting Nigeria's energy sector and to uplifting its host communities through impactful social responsibility initiatives.
The management of Promasido Nigeria Limited, based in Isolo right here in Lagos, has reaffirmed its commitment to promoting good health and quality education across Nigeria. And this assurance was given by the company's managing director and chief executive officer, Mr. Gillet Francois, during the official flag-off of the Ikun Milk Day held in Ekiti, mobile local government area of Ekiti State.
Dignitaries gathered at the Ikun Dairy Farm for the official flag-off ceremony of Ikun Milk Day. The event saw the presence of management staff from Promasido Nigeria Limited, Ekiti State Governor Biodun Yebanji, officials from the Federal Ministry of Livestock Management, and members of the host Ikun Ekiti community. The Ikun Milk Day initiative focuses on providing free milk to primary school pupils within the community, aiming to boost the overall health and development.
These nutritional benefits are a critical part of a child's ability to learn, grow, and dream. By offering a simple cup of milk, we are helping to fuel learning, to build resilience, and making a long-term investment in each child's health and education.
Governor Biodun Yebanji emphasized in his address that the partnership between Ekiti State and Promasido is a strategic collaboration driving his administration's shared prosperity agenda.
For people to prosper, there must be productivity. And it's only the private sector that can drive productivity. So our partnership with Promasido is extremely strategic to drive our shared prosperity agenda.
Delivering his remarks, the Minister of Livestock Development, Alhaji Idi Mukhtar Meha, affirmed that the Ikun Dairy project aligns with the federal government's national dairy policy. Represented by the Director of Ruminant and Monogastric Animal Production, Mr. Victor Egon, the minister reiterated the ministry's commitment to advancing cattle breeding and boosting dairy production in Nigeria.
With the right investment and support, our indigenous cattle can become both productive and profitable, contributing significantly to food security and rural prosperity, as well as setting new standards for integrated, climate-smart livestock development in Nigeria.
The traditional ruler of the host community, the Niku of Ikun, Oba Olushola Olatunde, commended Promasido Nigeria and the Ekiti State government for their significant investment in the dairy sector.
The only thing that can bring the joy of this community to life is to establish a production line in this community.
At the conclusion of the event, Governor Biodun Yebanji and other dignitaries were led on a tour of the production facility. The visit culminated in a stop at the local primary school, where the governor officially launched the distribution of fresh milk to pupils, marking the beginning of the Ikun Milk Day initiative. The Ikun Dairy Farm, a $5 million investment by Promasido Nigeria Limited, is home to over 5,000 high-yielding cattle and currently provides approximately 5,000 liters of fresh milk daily.
Let's continue in the world of business. Let's now join Dominic Iwe with more stories.
Thank you, and welcome to Business News. This is how the 8th president of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, would like his final annual meeting to be remembered. After 4 days of discussing how Africa's capital can work better for Africa's development and the election of the next president of the bank, the closing ceremony on the 5th day signals the end of the 2025 meetings and the preparation of the new set of leaders who will take over by September 2025. The new set bureau, which comprises Denmark, South Africa, will be led by Congo, represented by the Minister of Finance and host of the next annual meetings in 2026. Even as he bows out, Dr. Adesina preaches togetherness and Africa for prosperity.
Priorities may change, but around Africa, let us unite. For in our togetherness lies our greatest strength. Africa deserves your united support. The African Development Bank and the African Development Fund are your best investment vehicles to achieve your priorities and to transform Africa.
The total number of active mobile subscriptions fell by 43.43 million to 172.95 million in April this year, and this is according to latest data from the Nigeria Communications Commission. According to the NCC, the figure, which marks a significant 20.07% year-on-year drop from 216.38 million in April 2024, was primarily driven by the enforcement of the NIN-SIM linkage policy, which led to mass deactivation of unified unverified lines. However, on a month-to-month comparison, the number of subscribers rose modestly by 0.14%. It's another negative close for the domestic stock market as more profit takers on the NGX knock off over 47 billion naira from the total value of listed equities. Ladi Williams tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, what a month it's been for Nigeria's stock market, from tariff wars and the global space, interest rate hold here in Nigeria, swings in the foreign exchange market, prices still elevated, but investors still had a good month here with touch highs never seen before, above the 110,000 level, reaching the 111,000. But today, we have a pullback, just 7 basis points there. Market cap, new high there, 70 trillion naira. To the sectors we track, it's red across the board, but looking good mostly. If you're looking at it from the monthly perspective there, we see oil and gas down 0.90% today. The biggest drop for the sectors we track, banking 0.36% down, and consumer goods down 0.49%. Let's look at the monthly performance now. So, for the month, it's a green close there. If you look at when we started trading, May 2nd, 106,000, then touched a new high there, May 30th today, 5.37% up, for the month. So I guess investors did not sell in May and go away, looking at this result there. But fun fact today, the trading month of May, that kicked off on a Friday, and today ends on a Friday. Cheers to the weekend.
And that's it on Business News. Back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Dominic. Outside our shores, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia of undermining the next round of peace talks in Istanbul, scheduled for Monday, June the 2nd. But the first round of talks 2 weeks ago in Turkey brought no significant breakthrough, but it achieved a prisoner swap. Here's Simon Puse with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Desperate stories.
The UN's humanitarian chief has said people in Gaza are being subjected to forced starvation by Israel. In an interview, Tom Fletcher said he believed this had led to a change in the international response to Gaza. There is a state of chaos, a breakdown of security and looting in North Gaza's main city, where Palestinians are desperately searching for food and where aid is difficult to access. Local medics and rescuers said at least 44 people were killed across the territory on Thursday, including 23 at the central Bereji refugee camp.
Mr. President, there is cruelty in the bombardments, cruelty in the wanton destruction, cruelty in the blockade, and even cruelty in the distribution of very limited aid. The doomed fate of our people. A full blockade against an entire civilian population, including 1 million children, depriving them of food, water, medicine, shelter, or a system of aid that is degrading, discriminatory, limited to food and limited in quantity, and which aims at the forcible displacement of the population and at facilitating the unlawful seizing of land.
Meanwhile, Israeli ministers say 22 new Jewish settlements have been approved in the occupied West Bank, the biggest expansion in decades. Several already exist as outposts built without government authorization, but will now be made legal under Israeli law. Others are completely new, according to the defense minister, which are widely seen as illegal under international law, though Israel disputes this, are one of the most contentious issues between Israel and the Palestinians. The U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said trade talks between the U.S. and China are a bit stalled. His comments come less than 3 weeks after a temporary trade truce was agreed between the world's two largest economies, with both agreeing to reduce tit-for-tat tariffs. Donald Trump's global tariff regime was dealt a blow on Wednesday following a ruling that he had exceeded his authority. His plans have been temporarily reinstalled after the White House appealed the decision. Both the US and China confirmed they would reduce tariffs imposed on each other's imports earlier this month, following talks in Switzerland.
I would say that they are a bit stalled. I believe that we will be having more talks with them in the next few weeks, and I believe we may at some point have a call between the president and party chair Xi.
A suspect wanted for the murder of a South African university student has been killed in a shootout with police. The man had been linked to the death of Olerato Mongale, whose body was found in Johannesburg on Sunday, about 2 hours after she was reported missing, having gone on a date. Miss Mongale's death has sparked a fierce debate about the levels of violence faced by women in South Africa. The trial of Diego Maradona's medical staff has collapsed in Argentina after it was found that a judge involved in the case had taken part in a documentary about it. The judge in charge of the proceedings said the trial would have to start again. 7 members of Maradona's medical team were charged with negligent homicide relating to the former footballer's death in 2020. They deny the allegations. Maradona, a former Napoli and Argentina midfielder, had been recovering at his home in Buenos Aires from brain surgery for a blood clot in November 2020, when he died of a heart attack aged 60. If convicted, they could face between 8 and 25 years in prison. And a Chinese paraglider has survived being accidentally propelled 8,500 meters into the sky above northwest China. Peng Yujiang, aged 55, was testing new equipment at 3,000 meters above sea level over the Qilan Mountains when a rare updraft, or air current known as cloud suck, pulled him about 5,000 meters higher into a cloud formation. Saturday's events were filmed on a camera that was mounted on Mr. Peng's glider, and the footage has gone viral after being posted on China's version of TikTok. It showed Mr. Peng holding onto the glider's controls with his face and much of his body covered in ice crystals. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Host for the 23rd National Sports Festival, Enugu State says it has learned lessons from the 22nd National Sports Festival, which ended yesterday in Abeokuta, Ogun State capital. The Enugu State Commissioner for Youth and Sports Development, Lloyd Ike Ekweremadu, has assured athletes that the coal city is the safest state in the entire southeast and will surpass Ogun in hosting the games in 2026.
If you recall, cast your mind back to immediately when, after His Excellency Dr. Peter Nubisimba took office in May 29, 2023, he declared the end of IPOP in Enugu State, the end of sit at home, and the end of dictating to us by non-state actors. And it has remained the same ever since. If you come to Enugu today, there's nothing like Monday sit at homes anymore. In fact, any civil servant or any worker that is not in the office, will have an explanation because there's really no reason.
Inter Milan coach Simeone Inzaghi believes his side's superb run to the Champions League final can give them the confidence needed to get the better of a much-fancied PSG in Saturday's showdown in Munich. One of the grand old names of the European Games, Inter will now have another chance to win their 4th title following victories in 1964, 65 and 2010. However, they must pick themselves up from the disappointment of losing out to Napoli for the Serie A crown last weekend. And on the flip side, PSG coach Luis Enrique admits he knows what is at stake as he has had to wait 10 years to get another shot at the Champions League title after coaching Barcelona to the title in 2015. PSG eliminated Liverpool and Arsenal in the knockout rounds, while Inter fended off fancied Barcelona and Bayern Munich to punch their tickets and now face a winner-take-all showdown. That Sports is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu today announced that the Commission has fixed July 20 and August 8, 2026 for the governorship election in Ekiti and Osun states. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawado. Have a wonderful weekend. Good night.